Good morning, everyone. My name is Robert Allen. I am the current and proud president of the New Jersey Videographers Association, and I am coming to you live this morning on our NJVA Facebook page in order to promote the upcoming meeting happening on February the 21st. And joining me this morning, my partner in crime, Dan Strickler, longtime member, former board member, actor extraordinaire, up early for us. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Glad you could be here. First, let me express my condolences to you on the loss of your mother.
Thank you.
I know how close you were, and we do send our condolences to you. She, from what I know from you, she lived a very long and wonderful, meaningful life, and may her memory be for a blessing. So,
thank you.
So on to our upcoming February 21st meeting. As always, when something is in your capable hands, we can be assured that this is going to be a really fabulous meeting. So let me just, I want to just put up on the screen for everyone the date, February 21st, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are doing this live online using Zoom the way we did last month. We got some really great feedback about the meeting and the platform that we're using. And this will be something that we will grow into and will become more meaningful and more useful as time goes on. And we'll tell you a little bit more about how we'll be using that actually between meetings in the next few weeks. So that's what we decided to do. We decided to come here and just tell you about what to expect on the 21st. So Dan, you've done a tremendous amount of prep for this. Why don't you give everyone kind of an overview of what they can expect for the workshop that's happening on the 21st?
Sure. Well, people may know that in December, the NJVA put on a film festival. We've done it in the past. And in previous years, whenever we had a contest, the entries were judged by the members of the association. That's pretty regular procedure in most associations. This year, we decided to do something a little bit different, and we went to the outside for our judges from the industry and also, related fields. So, for instance, one of our judges was Billy Gardner. Now, Billy works as a sound mixer and designer for Technicolor Postworks, and he's a multi-Emmy Award winner. We also got from Prime Focus Motion Pictures and Films a gentleman by the name of David Goff, and David is a colorist and editor. And then, for a completely different kind of perspective, in the wedding category, we brought in Danielle Aspromonte, who is a professional wedding planner, to give her perspective. So, of course, we in previous years, I feel like, when I've watched the contest, you see varying quality of submissions. Some of them are not so great. Some are terrific. I think this year was marked by really very strong entries. As a matter of fact, in the winning categories, the difference between the winners and the runners-up, we gave notice or recognition to both the secondary runner-up and the first runner-up. The point spread was just, razor thin, sometimes just a difference of 1 point. So all of these entries are really strong, and I urge you to go and look at them before the meeting. There will be a link provided if you go to the Facebook page of NJVA, Rob.
Yeah, we have we'll have a link to them on the NJVA page, so njva.org. It's on your screen right now. I'll have the link also in the post where this video is going to be playing in replay, and that way you can watch the entries. And we've been part of the NJVA for a long time. Dan and I, as well as some of our other members, which we're quite proud of, that we have members that have been a member for as long as they have. That really does say something about the value of the organization itself. And I know that always a highlight has been whenever we've had these video competitions. And you might say that something like this is obsolete because we get to see so much work all the time, all over the internet. But there's something to be said about when someone prepares something to be entered into a judged situation. The work is just a little bit different. It's got either a different spin on it. The quality is really on point. What was your impression of what we saw this year? Even comparing it to what we've seen in past years, both in variety of entries and just overall. What was your impression of what you saw?
Well, I think that when people go and look at the entries, and again you're seeing the second runner-up, the first runner-up, and then the winner. You'll see. What
are the categories? Right? What are the categories that we're looking at? I'm going to put them up on the screen. So we've got.
Sure. So we have weddings, and this was just a broad category. So anything that you wanted to present, it wasn't specific to the beginning of a wedding or recap or anything like that. Just anything to do with weddings. Then another category was non-wedding events. So that included anything that was an event that was a non-wedding. And then we did a category that we've never done before, which was commercials. So we're finding that more and more members of the NJVA are branching out and doing things other than events. So we thought that ought to be included. So we did the commercial category. And then we had two technical categories. So this year we did editing and sound. And of course we had judges who were experts in these fields. So one of the things that we're excited about is we're going to talk to the winners and ask them about their pieces specifically. We will also talk to some of the judges and get their thinking about why they thought that these pieces were excellent. And then, of course, at the end, people who are out there viewing will have an opportunity to ask their questions as well. So it makes it more of an educational experience than if you were just to surf the internet and look for great examples of work. That's terrific. But then you don't have that give and take, which is something that we're hoping we can offer. That's a plus,
Yeah, well, it kind of reminds me of, what has almost become obsolete now, only because of the medium, right? I mean, I don't watch movies on DVDs anymore. Okay,
right.
All of my movies are streamed.
Right.
The thing is, I always enjoyed watching a film with the director's commentary, beneath it. Or the actors or whoever was involved in the production to listen to, what were they thinking about when they did this and all of that. And I had actually done that for a couple of my training videos that I did through the years, where I would, have commentary on what it is I did in the piece. What was I thinking and all. And I have to tell you, it was some of the most well-received feedback that I got of giving people insight into what the person who was producing this was thinking about, or in our situations, especially being involved in live events, right? What were the challenges we were dealing with? Okay, right. Because other than some of these categories, these were, live events unfolding right before the lens, no second takes, right. So that's that's another layer there of what most filmmakers never encounter, right? Unless you're doing documentary work or you're covering a rally or whatever it is. When you're working in the event world, you're doing something that you can't say, well, let's stop, let's do that one again.
Right.
It doesn't happen. So it always fascinates me when I see in the event arena, work of this caliber that was done, live as it unfolded and produced into something that's quite spectacular,
Yeah.
to say the least.
And I think, going back to this, the difference between this and just looking at a clip on the internet is, I go back to some of the live meetings that we've had where all of a sudden an entire discussion starts taking place. It might be sort of a side issue or some aspect of the process that was brought out in discussion, and all of a sudden there's an entire discussion in the group about this little detail, and it can get very exciting. So we hope that we'll be able to do some of that, because to see the entries, that's great. You'll get a lot out of looking at them, but to sort of dig deeper has great value. And with that in mind, I had this idea, and I think we're going to do this, which is that after we've generally looked at all the pieces and had an opportunity to talk to the people who produce them and the judges and get questions from the audience, we're going to circle back around at the end of the meeting and look particularly at one entry. And it's not that this entry in and of itself is more worthy of deep discussion than the other entries. They're all great. But in this case, we're talking about the winner in sound design. Now, this was a piece that was done by one of our members, Bill Ivey, and Bill and I was not involved with the contest. I didn't make an entry or anything, and I was asked to tabulate the results as a impartial calculator, whatever you want to call me. So I saw what was going on with all the entries, and Bill's scored higher than almost all the others. Well, definitely higher than all the others in this one aspect of sound production, post-sound production. And it's not a surprise, really, because Bill has spent his life in that world. He worked in New York, I think, for something like 36 years. He had his own sound studio there, and he worked with. He's an Emmy-nominated sound engineer and designer. He's worked with many luminaries in the recording business. I know him. He was relating once an incident where Paul McCartney came in to do something. So this guy knows his stuff, and I think we can learn a lot from him. And the thing about sound design, I think, and I don't know if you would agree with me on this, Rob, but in looking at all the improvements that have been made in event videography over the years, you look at the work that we're doing now compared to even 5 years ago, and it's so much more sophisticated because of the software and the whole DSLR revolution and all this stuff.
Right.
But one area that I find that's still a weak point for a lot of event videographers is in, sound design. And I'm not talking about sound acquisition per se. I mean, most people are now using very good equipment. They're using good microphones. They're using wireless systems or digital recorders. They're recording more sound sources. All this is great, but when it comes to, I don't think that a lot of people are putting in the same amount of time that certainly that a professional sound designer would put in, and in some cases it makes a big difference. And in some ways, it's kind of an invisible difference, or in the case of sound, just not noticeable. Because a lot of good sound design isn't noticeable. If you notice what the guy's done, they're probably doing something that's too obvious.
Yeah. Now, I think that holds true with editing in general. Editing really shouldn't be something that you notice.
That's true.
Unless it's you're looking at a a highly produced 30-second commercial and you go, man, that was a great edit. But when you're
Right.
watching a piece, if you notice good editing, well, maybe it's not good editing. If you're noticing it, it really should be just part of the experience. And I have to tell you,
Right.
I think back to a project that you and I worked on together, the Museum of Donald. If you remember, where we did a tribute video to a gentleman who owned a museum, right?
Right.
And I'm not talking about like a one-room museum. I'm talking about 5 floors of museum, space in Manhattan, and there was a lot of extra sound that was, things like, and videographers may not even heard of the term, the term room tone, right? Of recording what you think is nothing, right? But recording the sound in the room when there's no sound going on, right? And you say, oh, what the hell are you talking about? But that's a basic tenet in sound design is
Yes.
there is another player in the scene,
Right.
and it's the room that you're
Right.
in. So even basic things like that become so important to the overall experience of what it is that you're watching. Yeah.
So with this in mind, I would venture to say that a lot of people, and I would include myself as well, that when I looked at the entries the first time at the meeting, and then Bill won the sound design award. Again, I wasn't surprised, but I truthfully didn't see a whole lot of difference at first between his entry and the runners-up, for instance, which all had nice music and the fidelity of it was fine and all that. But when I went back and looked at his piece carefully and listened to the sound very carefully, I saw him do all sorts of things that other people are certainly capable of, but don't take the time to do. And so I thought what would be interesting for this meeting is in the separate segment toward the end of the meeting, we're going to go through his piece with a fine-tooth comb. We're going to look at every single sound cue and discuss why he did what he did. And I think for some people out there, it's going to be an eye-opener because they're going to go, God, I just never knew that anybody would take the time to do that. But these things are not even sophisticated things. These are things that any good sound mixer would just do on every job. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm also excited about the idea that Bill has volunteered to present to the NJVA in a separate bonus meeting. This is just, you pay for your meetings for the year. This is an extra one. It's going to be online, and it's going to be about sound design and a workflow for post-production sound that Bill has devised with the idea in mind that it's used for event videographers, people like us. He is planning to do this thing nationwide and charge money for it, but we're gonna get the first crack at it. He's going to do it for us for free as sort of a dress rehearsal. So that's something that will happen in March, and I hope that the membership takes advantage of it.
And the date is March 7th. Is that what we've decided?
I believe that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We have that up on the screen now. And that is a members only event. Right. You won't have the ability to pay to be a part of that on an individual basis like you can the meetings. This will be a members only event. If you are a member at either of the two levels, either a full member, which allows you to come to our in-person meetings, which will be starting in March, and as well as the virtual meetings, the online meetings like we'll be doing on the 27th. So, it's important that you sign up and you become a member. You can't beat it. It's $100 for full membership, $50 for a digital membership. It allows you to experience the online meetings. It also allows you, as a digital member, to watch the live streams of the in-person meetings, as well as watch the replays. So, it's a deal you can't beat. And the link is on our our website. I encourage you to go there right now. Well, not right now, but as soon as this is done, and become a member. The benefits are, far outweigh the membership fee. It's really a great deal, and Dan and I can both speak to how much we have gotten both professionally and personally out of being a part of this organization. Dan, I wouldn't know you if it weren't for NJVA, and not only have we known each other for, I don't know, probably 20 years at this point, but we have a personal relationship, we have a professional relationship, we've worked on many projects together, and that would not have happened if it were not for having a local association. And one of the reasons that we came up with the digital membership was that so many of the local associations, unfortunately, have gone by the wayside for whatever reason. So we want to have a place where those of you who no longer have an active, thriving local association can become part of us, even if you're halfway across the country. And I'm happy to report we already have digital members signed up from various parts of the United States that want to be a part of what we're doing. So we encourage you to visit njva.org. There is a membership button there so that you can very easily, with a credit card, become a member and be part of all this action.
I'm really excited about this these online meetings. I'm a huge fan of in-person meetings, and I wouldn't want them to go away. There's nothing like, actually coming into, human contact with people. But, we've seen over the years as the NJVA has changed venues, and the location has changed, that, members come and go. And a lot of the time it's just simply that they're no longer, in shooting distance to the meetings, or it takes them an hour and a half to get there, and it's difficult. We had a meeting last month, and it was terrific because we were seeing people all of a sudden. This was an online meeting. We were seeing people who were faithful members of the NJVA who dropped out because of the location, and all of a sudden they were back. And then I think you and I, Rob, have talked about this a lot, is that I think the online option has freed us also in terms of content. We can go out to the entire world now for speakers, and it's not like we have to pay for travel and hotel rooms and stuff like that. And if they're busy people, they might not be willing to give us a day, but they might be able to open their laptops and give us a couple hours of their time. So
that's right. And we can, and it is so powerful that we can do this at a moment's notice. Okay. Like, for example, I don't want anyone to misconstrue this March 7th bonus event with Bill is in addition to our March in-person meeting. Okay. So, these types of things we can come up with, and whether it be a smaller, more focused editing group. Let's say, we want to put together, a particular night of the week where people who are editing on Final Cut can all kind of come into Zoom and share some things, and we can do a full screen share. We can bring an editing system right up into the full screen so that someone can be sitting in front of their computer and watch someone else editing. And it looks really, really good. It's, certainly enough to learn, what it is that they're teaching. And to have the ability to do that, the power to do that, the technology to do that, and for us not to take advantage of it would not reflect positively on us as content producers, because there is nothing hotter right now. I mean, you have to be living under a rock if you don't know that video is the hottest medium on the internet right now. Better than 80% of all bandwidth within the next 2 years will be dedicated to video. Okay? That's internet-wide. Better than 80% of all the bandwidth will be video content. And we as professionals are poised to be able to provide that. Whether it's being able to work with a client in a platform like this, okay? You can produce something like this for a client to be able to use for their brand, Okay, we're professionals. We can do this. It's not as easy as it looks to produce something that is worthwhile. So we hope that what we're going to be doing as an organization will inspire all of you to broaden your horizons beyond what it is that you've been doing, to get out of your comfort zone, and try to embrace some of this technology and use it in your own business and make some money doing it. So that's, just a home run all around as far as I'm concerned. Communication is key. Some of you who might be watching this now might have been notified via text message. Everyone has their phone in their hand all the time. If you want to be alerted to these last minute events that come up for special access to events, join our text messaging system. So you're going to send the message at NJVA to 81010, and you will then be in our text chain, and we will not overwhelm you, but we will share information with you that's pertinent. Maybe it's a member needs a shooter last minute. Not everyone checks their Facebook messages. Not everyone checks their email as frequently anymore, but you do check your text messages. So get in our text message loop, and we will be able to send you messages right to your mobile device at a moment's notice. And you'll be able to communicate back with us that way as well. So I encourage you to do that. So you're going to text at NJVA to 81010, and you'll be part of our text chain. Okay, so I think was that it? Did we want to share anything else right now? I think we've covered everything.
That covers it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be pre-interviewing all the contestants, before the meeting, just so we get the best questions and not waste anybody's time. And I'm going to be out in California for my mother's funeral. So another advantage of online communication is I'll be doing my part of the moderation from Newport Beach. And my hope is that it's snowing really heavily on the East Coast, so that I can sit poolside and moderate with a pina colada in my hand.
Well, I will expect you to be sitting poolside moderating with a pina colada, whether it's snowing here or not, because there'll be no reason not to. But if you think about it, right? I mean, you were such an integral part of this that your first reaction to me when your mom passed away was that, oh, I'm going to be in California. I can't, you're going to have to take over, Rob. Here's my notes, and I say, wait a minute, hang on. Unless this is, right in when a important family thing is happening with you in California, you could do it there. And you were like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. But
yes, that's right.
It's really true. That would be, and that's one of the reasons why we planned for the January and February meetings to be online. And we got lucky this year, except for the snow we're expecting tonight. We had a rather mild winter, and we didn't have it, but it could have easily been just the opposite. And if we planned a meeting like this, where we've got 4 winners coming in, we've got 4 judges coming in, we want to have a good showing. We want to, we don't want to have a room with 6 people in it, and your panel is larger than your audience. So. You would never want that to happen. So it's important for the NJVA, the way we're positioned now, is everything matters. We have to hit a home run each and every meeting. There will be no meetings that when you show up, you're going to say, oh, what did I waste my time coming to this? Okay, we will have none of those meetings this year. I guarantee that. We will have something for everybody. And if necessary, I will personally take you out and entertain you if we fall short at a meeting. So you have my promise for that. But Dan, thank you for taking time out, for prepping for this. I'm looking forward to the meeting happening on the 21st. please make sure that you join. Membership is very important. It's the only way that we're going to be able to continue to do this, especially our in-person meetings. Your $100 membership gets you all the in-person meetings with a full catered dinner. Okay, we will not throw this together. This will be an actual dinner that there'll be enough food for everybody. There'll be beverage. There'll be some dessert. You know, we promise it will be worth your while to come out to our meetings. And our in-person meetings will continue right now at our Clifton location. We are just finalizing the actual date for the March meeting, and we will distribute that in short order. So, Dan, thank you very much. If anyone has any questions, please put it in the comments. You know how to contact me. My contact information is always available. And then don't forget to join the text message chain so that you get updated. Dan, thank you very much. Again, I look forward to seeing you from California on the 21st, and then in person again later in March.
Great.
Okay.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.